Hi everybody and welcome to Teen Book Tuesday. My name is Lorie and I'm the teen librarian at Manlius Library, and today I'm coming to you from my living room. And I thought that since today is the last Tuesday of April and April is National Poetry Month, I would share some of the newer selections of poetry collections and novels in verse with you. Novels in verse are great. The first one is called The Seventh Raven by David Eliot. And the poem on the back, and here are the boys who live in the cottage. The eldest is Jack, and the next one is Jack, and the third one's called Jack, and the fourth's known as Jack, and the fifth says he's Jack, and the sixth they call Jack, but the seventh's not Jack. The seventh is Robin, and this is his story. The Seventh Raven. When Robin and his brothers are turned into ravens through the work of a curse, their younger sister is the only hope for them to become human once again. Though she's never met them, April is determined to restore her brother's humanity. But what will become of Robin, who has discovered a much greater affinity to the air than the earthbound lives of his family? The Seventh Raven is filled with powerful messages that can only be teased from the timeless themes of fairy tales. This beautiful retelling shows us the cost of unintended consequences as well as the gifts of transformation. And it is a book entirely in verse. The next one is also a novel in verse, and it's called Muted. And the author is Tammy Charles, and there's the cover of that one. Be bold, get seen, be heard. For 17-year-old Denver, music is everything. Writing, performing, and her ultimate goal, escaping her very small, very white hometown. So Denver is more than ready on the day she and her best friends, Dally and Shaq, sing their way into the orbit of the biggest R&B star in the world, Sean Mercury Ellis. Merc gives them everything. Parties, perks, wild nights, plus hours and hours in the recording studio. Even the painful sacrifices and the lies the girl have to tell are all worth it. Until they're not. Denver begins to realize that she's trapped in Merc's world, struggling to hold on to her own voice. As the dream turns into a nightmare, she must make a choice. Lose her big break or get broken. Inspired by true events, Muted is a fearless exploration of the dark side of the music industry, the business of exploitation, how a girl's dreams can be used against her, and what it takes to fight back. So this is another one told in verse. And a lot of the poems in this one read like songs. Not all of them, but a lot of them read like songs. And there are a lot of really great music references. And that's Muted, a novel in verse by Tammy Charles. The next one is neither a novel in verse nor is it a poetry collection. This one is actually just one poem, and it's Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb, an inaugural poem for the country, with a foreword by Oprah Winfrey. And that is Amanda Gorman on the back, performing her poem at the inauguration in January. And this is it's a great little book. It's just so pretty. And it is the poem from the inauguration, The Hill We Climb. This one is a collection of poetry. It's called Black Girl Call Home, and it's poems by Jasmine Mans. And from the back matter, from acclaimed poet Jasmine Mans comes an unforgettable poetry collection about race, feminism, and queer identity. With echoes of Gwendolyn Brooks and Sonia Sanchez, Mans writes to call herself and us home. Each poem explores what it means to be a daughter of Newark, New Jersey, and America, and the painful, joyous path to adulthood as a young, queer Black woman. Black Girl Call Home is a love letter to the wandering Black girl and a vital companion to any woman on a journey to find truth, belonging, and healing. And that's Black Girl Call Home. Poems by Jasmine Mans. This next one is another collection of poetry called You Don't Have to Be Everything, Poems for Girls Becoming Themselves, and it's edited by Diana Whitney. And this is a collection of poetry from a bunch of different people. And the chapters are called Seeking, Loneliness, Attitude, Rage, Longing, Shame, Sadness, and Belonging. And there's a section in the back with more information about all of the poets and also about the illustrators, because the book is just beautifully illustrated throughout. And that's You Don't Have to Be Everything, Poems for Girls Becoming Themselves. And on the back it says, it's an excerpt from Survival Guide, a poem by Joy Layden. No matter how old you are, it helps to be young when you're coming to life, to be unfinished, a mysterious statement, a journey from star to star. You don't have to be everything. Poems for Girls Becoming Themselves. This is a novel in verse. It's called We Are the Ashes, We Are the Fire. A Crime Unpunished, a Story Reclaimed by Joy McCullough. And there's the cover of that. She is also the author of Blood, Water, Paint, which is another novel in verse. M. Morales' sister was raped after a frat party. A jury found the attacker guilty on all counts. A remarkable verdict that M felt more than a little proud of, since her passionate social media advocacy helped dissuade the DA from settling for a plea deal. But victory is short-lived. Justice vanishes as the judge turns the Morales family's world upside down again by sentencing the rapist to no prison time. While her family is stunned, M is sick with rage and guilt. To make matters worse, M tells a reporter the sentence makes her want to learn to use a sword, and the news clip goes viral. M must find a new reason to fight on, and it comes in the unlikely form of a story of a 15th century French noblewoman, Marguerite de Bracieux, legendary as an avenging knight for victims. We Are the Ashes, We Are the Fire is a searing and nuanced portrait of a young woman torn between a persistent desire for revenge and a burning need for hope. And as I said, this is a book, a novel in verse, but it is also, parts of it are also regular text. So there's excerpts throughout of poetry and like Know My Name. The bells that beckon to morning prayers do not awaken me. I never slept. Zara stirs peaceful until her eyes open and she remembers. Her gaze falls on my face as tears slip down her own. And there's just regular text as well. And that is We Are the Ashes, We Are the Fire by Joy McCullough. This next one is a collection of poetry called Somebody Give This Heart a Pen by Sophia Thakur. And the back matter says, I am surprised that my jaw has not unhinged itself with the amount of me I keep under my tongue. Baby, you are the finest collection of stars. Every morning I'll remind you that this world is ours. This world is ours and yours. And in her publishing debut, internationally acclaimed performance poet Sophia Thakur takes you on an intimate journey through love, loss, sacrifice, and self-discovery. In 4 parts entitled Grow, Wait, Break, and Grow Again, she shares her raw self and gives voice to experiences that connect people, inspiring readers to explore the tendencies of the heart. So sit down and be with yourself for a moment. Be yourself for a moment. Airplane made everything but yourself for a moment. Because from breaking, we know that though we shed, we can also always regrow. So that is Somebody Give This Heart a Pen by Sophia Thakur. And this is a collection of poetry, all by one poet. And finally, another novel in verse called Home is Not a Country. And it is by Sophia Elio. Imagine her, this other girl, bright and alive, and I ache to have been born her instead. Nina doesn't feel understood by her mother, who grew up far away in a different land, by her suburban town, which makes her feel too much like an outsider to fit in and not enough like an outsider to feel that she belongs somewhere else. At least she has her childhood friend Hatham, with whom she can let her guard down and be herself. Until she doesn't. As the ground is pulled out from under her, Nima must grapple with the phantom of a life not chosen, the name her parents didn't give her at birth, Yasmin. But that other name, that other girl, might just be more real than Nima knows, and more hungry. And the life Nima has, the one she keeps wishing were someone else's, she might have to fight for it with a fierceness she never knew she had. And this is, each chapter is a poem. And that's Home is Not a Country by Sophia Elio. So there you go. A selection of poetry collections, some poems, and some novels in verse. If you saw something that you're interested in, pop over to our website at manliuslibrary.org and put it on hold. Or you can actually pop into the library now. We're open. You can find our hours on our website as well. Thanks for joining me. My name is Lorie, and I'm the teen librarian at Manlius Library. You can find me here every Tuesday at 4 o'clock for more book talks and selections and suggestions on things to read in the teen room. Have a great day. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Happy reading.